I'm going to Japan in 1 week, and I've been learning Japanese now for 3.5, almost 4 months. I'll hit the 4 month mark while I'm in Japan. On one hand, I am feeling prepared. I'm as ready as I possibly can be. I mean, I've been working really hard the last 3 months, but I'm still very early in this process. That's why I've given myself the whole year to learn Japanese, and even that is a really rushed schedule. So I expect that I won't be having any deep conversations for sure. I think that I'm gonna have enough to get around as a tourist. I have no idea how my reading is going to go because I know all of the characters for all of the words that I've learned, but the meaning of them is really dependent on the context. Even if I recognize the characters, if I don't recognize a certain combination, it's useless. So it's basically like knowing the alphabet, but not knowing the words. I also think that this is going to be really healthy as a thing to do in this Japanese learning project while it's early in the process, and I hope that it will give me some context, some idea of where I need to go, of where I'm headed for this year. So it's going to be really helpful to know where my weaknesses are and what life is like in Japan. And then hopefully I can go back to Japan later this year when I am more comfortable and really soak in the country more deeply. In the meantime, I'm just rushing to learn as much as I possibly can before this trip. I'm not going to be speaking fluently, obviously, but I hope to get as ready as I can. Overall, I am just extremely excited for this trip. I can't wait. And it's gonna be fun. I just finished a month-long tour in Europe. We finished our last show last night in Toulouse in the south of France, and today I arrived in Barcelona, where I'm gonna catch the plane to Tokyo tomorrow. So I can't wait to go. I can't wait to experience Japan and try out my Japanese, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So here we go. Tomorrow the adventure begins. Hello everybody, it's maybe around 6 a.m. here in Japan, and arrived a little less than 24 hours ago. Just taking it all in, and wanted to share some of my first impressions of being in Japan. First of all, it's very clean, everything works, it's very tidy, and everyone is super nice. It's very interesting. Even though we're in a gigantic city here in Tokyo, it feels really peaceful. And we're in this giant park here, and it's silent as if you were in the mountains. And even on the street, it's really calm. But so far, everything has been like that. So every little interaction you have with a machine, an ATM or something, there's nice little music that plays, and it feels really calm, which is really interesting for such a huge city. So now I've been in Tokyo for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, something like that, and I've had a little more time to kind of soak it in. And I remember at the beginning thinking that it was really calm and I hadn't seen any chaos in Tokyo. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was jet lagged, and so I was up at these crazy hours in the morning where nobody was up and doing anything. So since then I have definitely seen the chaos of Tokyo. You know, there's a lot of people, a lot of cars and all that. But I still feel like it's extremely calm and tranquil compared to a city like New York. Very orderly. You know, everybody stands on the left side of the escalator without exception. Being a pretty organized person myself, I really enjoy that sort of aspect of Japan. I don't know, just everything is so organized and pleasant. It's really strange, and I'm not used to it, but it's cool. So I've been using my Japanese. I've been able to get around and do basic everyday things, you know, ordering food or asking for directions. But today I had a really cool exchange with an older woman. I was sitting in a kind of a 7-Eleven kind of store, like a convenience store, which, by the way, the food in those things is insanely good and cheap. Even though it's like a 7-Eleven, it's not the same 7-Eleven from the States. It's like another thing. You can get like a sushi for like the equivalent of $1 or $2, and it's like really high quality. Anyway, so I was sitting there eating my food, and then I had finished, and so I was studying Japanese on my phone, and this older woman came in and sat down next to me, and she said, "Konnichiwa," and I looked around thinking she was talking to somebody else, but she was talking to me, and so I said, "Konnichiwa," and we started to talk a little bit. Most of my Japanese exchanges on this trip have been really short, so it was really nice to be able to speak with someone for an extended period. And we talked about, you know, what I was doing here in Japan. I mean, kind of. It was easier when I was guiding the conversation because I didn't always understand what she was saying back to me. But we understood each other enough that we had this long conversation. And I told her that I was a musician and I was doing these tours in different places. And then I started showing her pictures on my phone of the tours and stuff, and she thought that was really cool. And it was really fun. One of the highlights of this trip so far. It's been really nice to see how the language and everything fits into this culture and this country, and see what the country feels like to actually be here. And it's given me you know, extra motivation now to work hard on this language. Because now I've gotten a taste of what it's like here, and I would really like to be able to understand it on a deeper level, which requires a deeper knowledge of the language. So we're at the end of the week now, and my Japanese conversation skills are getting stronger. I'm feeling more confident. I'm having longer exchanges about more in-depth things. So I kind of started out this week talking about, you know, just ordering food and asking for simple daily things. But the last couple days, and today especially, I've been doing a little bit more involved things. Like now when I go to a restaurant, I try and talk to the I don't know, to the staff or somebody there a little bit more than just asking for what I want and asking for the check. I try and have a little bit of a conversation, and yeah, I try to have a little bit longer exchanges because I can when I'm talking about certain simple things. So today I went to Kinokuniya, the bookstore in Tokyo, which is the same bookstore I went to in New York, and I went to buy the manga, I just forgot the name, Yotsuba, which was recommended by you fine fellows, ladies and gents, so thank you for that recommendation. I think it's going to be a lot easier than the manga I was trying to read in my recent videos, so that's good. But I'm just happy and proud and want to share this moment because I had to talk in Japanese to get that book, and so that involved asking for it, and then she pulled up on the computer a whole bunch of results, and there were many different ones, and so I had to kind of figure out which one it was and describe to her that it's stories for kids, and that I'm studying Japanese and I want something easy to read. So I had to explain all this in Japanese, and so I did that, and then we found out what it was. She told me where it was, gave me a map, and sent me to another building where I could find this book. So I did that, and then I had to ask for directions from somebody else to get to that building, and so I had this whole big adventure, and I finally got to the place.
and then had to ask somebody about this book and describe it, and they found it, showed it to me, and I just bought it. So it's kind of exciting, a little mini adventure. So that's good. It's really been good to be here in Japan just to practice my skills in real life.
And now I'm back from Japan, a bit sad not to be there anymore, but it's okay because I hope to be going back later this year. Overall, it was a very cool experience, very strange place, and I've traveled a lot, but really Japan is very unique and special, and I really enjoyed my time there. So, in the meantime, until the next trip, I'm going to be learning Japanese, and I'm going to be doing so with a little bit more context and awareness of the culture than I had before, so that's going to be really helpful. And of course, if you want to watch me speak in Japanese during this period, you can watch the 4-month progress video, since I didn't actually speak Japanese in this video. And that's about it. So thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.